Hello viewers. Well, another game revealed just before EGX was Inertial Drift. We saw a trailer for that and I managed to get a hands on at the show and catch up with the developer Michael to find out more about the game and how it works. Let's see what he had to say.
Hi, my name's Michael O'Kane. I'm the lead programmer and designer on this new racing game title, Inertial Drift. The thing that really sets this game apart is we've got a twin-stick control scheme. So you have independent control over your steering and your drift angle, and that gives you way more control than you've had in any other racing game ever before.
So obviously you're a bit good at this game. Show us how it's done. How do you get so much speed? How are you controlling the car up so well?
So I guess with this car specifically, it won't drift if you hold the throttle in. You have to lift off in order to get angle. But if you spend too much time off the throttle or too much time at a big drift angle, you're going to lose a lot of speed. So it's really about using just enough drift for the corner that you're taking. The other thing is, there's like advanced features on these cars that when you get further into them, things like doing fast transitions. So if I'm drifting one way and I need to quickly change to go the other way, I can tap the brake on this car to do a quick transition there. But yeah, so and then if you want to do style mode, then you can really hang the car out and hold it there in a really long drift for ages. It's very it's much easier to do this than it is in a lot of other racing games where holding a drift is a very difficult thing to do, and here I wanted to make that accessible, and then I ask you to do some crazy stuff with it. So later tracks really require you to do fast transitions where using advanced techniques becomes very important, and I kind of take you up through each car and teach you the concepts over the four main story cars, and then you're left to explore the remaining cars in the game at your own pace to work out how each of them works. The inspiration for this game was I really missed classic arcade racers like Ridge Racer and other PS1 titles where the focus was on drifting and not on collecting boost. So yeah, we really wanted to go back and recapture the accessibility of games like that, but put our own twist on it, and that's where our twin stick control scheme came in. So basically it means that you can slide the back end out wherever you want, you can counter steer, you can do lots of stuff that is very difficult in other games easily, and then when you get further into the game, it's about balancing throttle and brake to manipulate your cars. All the cars in the game handle completely differently from each other. You have to drive in a different style to take best advantage of them all, and that can mean using throttle to initiate slides or brake, and that gives them all a unique feel that is quite dramatic whenever you try them in person. So our demo here at EGX, we've got 3 tracks over 2 locations, as well as 3 of the main cars in the game, just to give people a little taste of the kind of things they can expect from the game. We've got a city track, set at nighttime, and then a lakeside sunset track that are kind of they're the 2 intro tracks for the game. They give people a good taste of what to expect, but it gets much harder from there on. The game will be coming out spring 2020 on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC.
So Michael obviously is very passionate about the project. He's got some good ideas, and looking at Ridge Racer, Initial D, Automobilista, there's all these classic games that he's been looking at for inspiration, and he's captured a lot of that in terms of the look and feel. I got on there for the first time with this new twin stick mechanic, and I have to say initially it was a bit of a challenge. I had to kind of curve my brain around it. I didn't quite get all of it, but I really like the idea behind it. It's unique, it's different, and I do like to support different ideas. I remember saying this when Redout was released. Redout took ideas further forward in ways in which people didn't think you could. And I think again here you've got a different idea for adding a drift challenge and a different way of sort of assessing your speed, your angle for the corner. One thing that was highlighted was you really do need to know the course before you can really sort of maximize it, because you need to know what your speed exactly has to be for that corner before you get there. It's very difficult to then adjust your speed when you're in the corner. Now there are some cars which are easier to drive than others. I think here we had a sort of medium car on an easy course. This is an easy course, I might add, that's why it's so wide, but there's obviously a variety of courses and challenges in the game there, and obviously it's a very early version as well, so I'm gradually getting my head around it. It was just now and again I would make the odd mistake where I would just become fingers and thumbs in more ways than one. It was just understanding how you steer the rear and how you control it in the corners, but I was getting better at it. I probably wasn't doing enough drifting. You know me, guys, I'm not always a drifting guy. I'm more of a racing driver. So for me, I was more comfortable doing high-speed racing style drifts. But we do try out some of the other circuits. And obviously, when he was playing it, he showed how it was done, which was a lot better to see. And actually, I really felt the game came alive, not on this course, but on the city track, the third track that was shown. And that was shown with a much more difficult car and a much better sort of vibe in terms of the look and lighting. That was me there just getting it wrong. If you get your drift kind of wrong, you can get it really wrong and end up in the wall. But I do look forward to seeing what people can do online with this. I think there's a lot of potential for it, as I'm getting better. I'm gradually learning my way around the course. But I can imagine Michael cringing right now at seeing his game being played in a way that isn't probably as drifty as it's supposed to be. But finishing that race, completing that event, I'm like, okay, getting my head around that. I will mention that when you're on the show floor at these events, it's not always the best place to learn how to play a game. You know, it's very noisy, can't hear the game at all hardly. I mean, literally I had almost no sound from the game, no headphones there, so I couldn't really hear it that well. Not that it mattered, mind you, there was a bit of sound out the TV. It's a strange warbling sound when you hear the drifting. This course was, I think it was a slightly easier to control car in terms of responsiveness, but a much more twisty course. So again, if you don't know the corners, it can be tricky. And I think on tunnels like this, they look a bit samey, some of the tunnels. So I do think that it's going to be quite challenging memorising them. You really will need a detailed memory. Sometimes I think it'd be nice if there were markings on a few of these tunnels and certain corners, just to help you remember where you were. Because obviously when you're using repeated textures, it saves a lot of time in making the game, but in reality drivers are constantly using landmarks and independent things to help determine corners and cornering speeds. Again, this particular course, I've cut out some of it. It started off quite complex at the top of the hill and then turns into the course that we just saw a moment ago. So some of them are actually connected. I don't know how that features throughout the entire game, or you know, sort of, or what you'll see eventually, but certainly there's still a lot to be added. And then finally it was a move across to this city circuit that for me is much more Ridge Racer, and it felt much more like the Midnight Mountain Races and the sort of Tokyo Highway Battles. Nice reflective car. This actual track car look artistically for me was a world better than what we'd seen on the other locations, and it was the one I felt made the game come alive. You really had to learn how to drift the car on this particular course, you know. So I think that more time really on something like this to really understand the drifting mechanic. This car just didn't want to go straight. It was very challenging to drive, and you know, you found yourself able to drift almost anywhere with it really. The hard part was actually maintaining speed and drifting. Otherwise you get sort of locked in this drift going at 5 miles an hour, as I was there. You're supposed to be going a lot quicker than that. So overall then, enjoyable, a nice new concept. I think it's something that I look forward to trying on a future demo, and it's the sort of game that I'd like to see experts play, because I think you'll see absolute wizardry from the top drift guys that are out there. But it's something different because the drifting is so challenging to keep the car in a sort of balanced line, balanced speed. You really do have to know those courses and those corners. And it's something different to find at the show. So that's it for Inertial Drift. Thank you to Michael for his time there. We'll keep an eye on this title in the future as well. And that's it for this video. We've got more coming from the EGX show floor as well. Lots more racing titles were shown from independent developers, and we'll be catching up with a few of those. But as ever, that's it from me for now. More soon. Thanks for watching today, viewers. I hope you enjoyed the video, and do like and subscribe. It supports what we do. You can go to the website directly above me here, or check out a couple of other videos on the channel, perhaps things you're interested in terms of racing games, whether it be new or retro. It's all there. Check them out.